Savannah Carter hated airports. Not casually. Not in the normal security lines are annoying kind of way. She genuinely hated every part of flying. The crowds. The screaming children. The recycled air. The turbulence. Especially the turbulence. Which was exactly why she was sprinting through Terminal B at O'Hare International Airport, with sheer panic written across her face. Final boarding call for Flight 221 to Manhattan. The announcement echoed overhead as Savannah tightened her grip on her laptop bag and ran faster. Her blonde curls bounced wildly around her shoulders while passengers stepped aside to avoid being steamrolled by the frantic woman in heels. "Excuse me, sorry, coming through." She glanced at the giant departure screen. Gate B17. 2 minutes left. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. The one weekend she couldn't miss. Her best friend Ava's wedding. The same Ava who had spent the last 4 years helping Savannah survive everything from breakups to career disasters to the death of her mother. Missing this wedding was not an option, even if it meant voluntarily trapping herself inside a flying metal tube 30,000 feet in the air. By the time Savannah reached the gate, she was completely breathless. The flight attendant was already reaching for the boarding scanner. "Oh, thank God," Savannah gasped, thrusting her ticket forward. The woman scanned it with visible impatience. "You're the last passenger." Story of my life. Savannah hurried down the jet bridge, still trying to catch her breath. Her seat was in first class. A ridiculous purchase. One she absolutely could not afford comfortably. But after the brutal month she'd had at work, she convinced herself she deserved one small luxury. Especially considering what was waiting for her Monday morning. Lockwood Media had officially been acquired, and the rumors surrounding the company's new owner had spread through the office like wildfire. Alexander Reed, CEO of Reed Global Ventures. Young billionaire. Corporate genius. Ice cold. Apparently he had a reputation for walking into struggling companies and cleaning house without mercy. People online called him the executioner. Not exactly comforting. Savannah finally reached row 2 and attempted to shove her carry-on into the overhead compartment. It refused to cooperate. She yanked harder. Still stuck. Great. Perfect ending to a perfect day. Need help. The deep voice beside her made her freeze. She turned and immediately forgot how to breathe properly. The man sitting in seat 2B looked like he had walked directly out of a luxury watch advertisement. Tall. Dark hair. Sharp jawline. Blue eyes so intense they almost looked unreal. His charcoal suit fit him perfectly, and the expensive silver watch on his wrist probably cost more than Savannah's car. But somehow none of that was the most dangerous thing about him. It was his smile. Warm. Easy. Unexpectedly genuine. A small dimple appeared in his cheek as he stood. Here. Before Savannah could respond, he effortlessly lifted the suitcase into the compartment. "Thank you," she said quickly. "No problem." He settled back into his seat beside her. "I'm Alex." Savannah buckled herself in. Savannah. The plane began taxiing toward the runway. Immediately, anxiety tightened inside her chest. Fantastic. Here we go. She hated takeoff most. The feeling of losing control. Of being trapped. Beside her, Alex opened a book while Savannah stared out the window trying not to spiral. Her phone buzzed one final time before airplane mode activated. A text from her coworker Mia flashed across the screen. "Good luck surviving Monday with the new psycho CEO. He fired 6 executives his first week at his last company." Savannah groaned quietly. Alex glanced sideways. "Bad news. My company just got acquired," she muttered. "That bad? You have no idea." The plane accelerated suddenly. Savannah grabbed the armrest instantly. Her stomach dropped as the aircraft lifted off the ground. Alex noticed immediately. "Nervous flyer? That obvious?" "A little." His voice stayed calm. "Steady. We'll level out soon." For the next 20 minutes, Alex kept talking casually. Travel disasters. Funny airport stories. Favorite restaurants in New York. Anything to distract her. And annoyingly, it worked. Savannah found herself relaxing despite every instinct warning her not to get attached to attractive strangers on airplanes. Then turbulence hit. Hard. The plane suddenly dropped violently. Gasps erupted around the cabin. The overhead bins rattled loudly. Another sharp jolt shook the aircraft sideways. Savannah's heart nearly stopped. Oh my God! Her breathing became shallow instantly. Another violent shake hit. Without thinking, she grabbed Alex's arm with both hands. We're dying. We're not dying. We are absolutely dying. Alex turned toward her calmly. Savannah, look at me. She did. We're okay. Another rough drop interrupted him. Savannah panicked completely. And when Savannah panicked, she talked. A lot. Fussed. Without filtering literally anything. I can't die yet, she rambled while gripping his arm like a life raft. I haven't even accomplished anything meaningful. I work 80-hour weeks creating campaigns for a company that's probably about to collapse under some terrifying billionaire robot CEO. Alex's eyebrow lifted slightly, but he stayed quiet. Big mistake. Because now she was really going. His name is Alexander Reed, she continued breathlessly. Which already sounds evil somehow. Like the name of a man who definitely owns a private island and fires people for blinking wrong. Alex bit the inside of his cheek. Hard. Savannah barely noticed. Everyone says he's heartless. Like genuinely terrifying. Probably one of those rich men who inherited everything and thinks normal people are disposable. Another jolt shook the plane. Savannah tightened her grip on him. I bet he's emotionally dead inside. Like one of those cold corporate sharks who drinks expensive whiskey while ruining people's lives. Alex looked out the window briefly, probably to hide his expression. Savannah kept going. And I swear every article about him makes him look older somehow. You know those billionaire faces where you can just tell they yell at assistants for breathing too loud? Alex coughed suddenly. You okay? Fine, he said quickly. Savannah nodded distractedly. Meanwhile, I spent 6 months building the biggest marketing pitch of my career for our luxury hotel client. And this Alexander Reed guy probably won't even look at it before replacing everyone with his own people. Alex looked back at her carefully. Tell me about the campaign. What? Distract yourself. His hand covered hers gently where she still clutched his arm. Tell me why you care about it. The warmth in his voice slowed her panic slightly. Savannah swallowed hard and started talking. And once she started, she couldn't stop. She described the campaign in detail. The emotional storytelling strategy. The social media rollout. The idea of selling experiences instead of luxury. How she wanted customers to feel something real instead of just envying wealth. Alex listened to every word. Actually listened. Not fake listening. Not waiting to talk. Real listening. By the time she finished, the turbulence had mostly stopped. Savannah finally realized she was still gripping his arm. Oh my God. She released him instantly. I'm so sorry. Alex glanced down at the wrinkles in his expensive suit jacket. I think I'll survive. Savannah covered her face. I insulted my terrifying billionaire CEO for half an hour to a complete stranger, while having a mental breakdown. You did. And now you probably think I'm insane. His mouth twitched. I think you're honest. Something about the way he said it made her heart skip unexpectedly. The rest of the flight passed smoothly. They talked for nearly 2 more hours. Favorite books. Childhood memories. Music. Dream vacations. Savannah found herself laughing more than she had in weeks. By the time the plane landed, she almost forgot she was sitting beside a stranger, which made saying goodbye weirdly difficult. At baggage claim, they paused awkwardly beside each other. Well, Savannah said softly. Well, Alex echoed. For a second neither moved. Then he smiled. I hope your wedding weekend is amazing, Savannah Carter. Her stomach flipped slightly hearing him say her full name. Thank you. She hesitated. So goodbye then? Goodbye. His eyes held hers a second longer than necessary. Then the crowd moved between them. And he disappeared. Savannah spent the entire wedding weekend trying not to think about him, which failed spectacularly. By Sunday night she was stressed all over again anyway. Monday morning. New ownership. New CEO. Possible unemployment. Fantastic. Savannah arrived at Lockwood Media wearing her best navy blazer like armor. The office buzzed nervously. Everyone whispered about the new boss. At exactly 9 a.m., all employees were called into the main conference room. Savannah grabbed coffee and sat near the middle beside Mia. Think he's ugly? Mia whispered. I'm hoping for old and bald. Same. The VP stepped to the podium. Good morning, everyone. As you know, Lockwood Media is entering an exciting new chapter. Please welcome our new CEO. The doors opened. Savannah's soul left her body instantly. Alex walked inside. Not Alex. Alexander Reed. The billionaire CEO she spent an entire flight insulting directly to his face. Her coffee nearly slipped from her hand. No. No. Their eyes met immediately across the room. Recognition flashed in his expression. Then amusement. Actual amusement. Savannah wanted death immediately. Alexander reached the podium smoothly. Good morning, everyone. His voice sounded richer somehow in a boardroom. More powerful. More dangerous. Savannah stared at the table in horror. This cannot be happening. Over the next few weeks, he continued calmly, I look forward to learning about the talented people responsible for this company's success. Then his eyes shifted directly to Savannah. In fact, oh God, I already had the pleasure of hearing about some very impressive projects during a recent flight. Mia slowly turned toward Savannah. Savannah stopped breathing. I'm especially interested in the luxury hospitality campaign currently in development. Alexander smiled slightly. Savannah Carter, please stay after the meeting. The entire room turned toward her instantly. Savannah considered faking her own death. The meeting finally ended. Employees filed out whispering furiously. Mia squeezed Savannah's arm violently. What the hell happened on that plane? I'll tell you after I resign and disappear into the woods. Eventually the room emptied completely. Alexander approached calmly. Savannah stood immediately. Mr. Reed, I am so unbelievably sorry. He laughed. Actually laughed. Savannah. No, listen seriously, I had no idea who you were and I called you emotionally dead and old and you also called me a billionaire supervillain. She closed her eyes. I want to die. His smile softened instantly. Please don't. That caught her off guard. Alexander stepped closer. You don't owe me an apology. I absolutely do. No. His voice gentled. You were terrified and honest. Savannah blinked. That's the most truthful conversation I've had with someone in years. She stared at him. You're not angry? Honestly. He leaned against the conference table. I found it refreshing. Over the next month, Savannah's entire life changed. Alexander wasn't anything like the rumors. Yes, he was demanding, focused, intense. But he also remembered employee birthdays, stayed late helping departments transition during restructuring, personally defended junior staff during difficult client calls. And somehow, he kept finding reasons to talk to Savannah. Coffee appearing on her desk, questions about campaigns he could have emailed, inside jokes about airplanes. The attraction between them became impossible to ignore, which meant office gossip exploded almost immediately, especially from Vanessa Blake in senior sales. Vanessa noticed every glance, every smile, every meeting, and she hated Savannah for it. One afternoon after a strategy meeting, Vanessa cornered Savannah near the elevators. You've adjusted to the new CEO surprisingly fast. Savannah forced a polite smile. I'm just doing my job. Of course. Vanessa's tone dripped sugar-coated venom. I'm sure his interest in your work is completely professional. Savannah walked away before she said something regrettable. That same evening, Alexander called her into his office. The second she entered, she knew something felt different. Tense. Personal. Close the door, he said quietly. Savannah obeyed slowly. Alexander stood near the windows overlooking downtown Chicago. The sunset painted gold across the glass behind him. I need to ask you something. Her heartbeat sped up immediately. Okay. He exhaled slowly. Are people giving you trouble because of me? Savannah hesitated. That obvious? His jaw tightened. I was afraid of that. It's manageable. It shouldn't be happening at all. He walked closer. Close enough that Savannah could smell his cologne. Warm cedarwood and something darker. More dangerous. Savannah. His voice dropped lower. I've tried very hard to keep this professional. Her pulse pounded. But. His eyes locked onto hers. But I can't stop thinking about you. Silence. Heavy. Charged. Savannah's breath caught. Alexander. I know you work for me. Frustration flashed across his face. I know how complicated this is. He stepped even closer. But I haven't felt like this about anyone in years. Savannah's hands trembled slightly. Because the worst part? She felt exactly the same. I don't want your career damaged because of me, he continued quietly. I would never let that happen. Before she could respond, his office phone rang. The interruption shattered the moment. Alexander muttered something under his breath. Savannah almost laughed nervously. Saved by corporate timing. That night, she told Mia everything over wine and takeout. So let me summarize, Mia said dramatically. You panic insulted a billionaire CEO on an airplane, accidentally made him fall in love with you. And now you're basically living inside a Netflix romance movie. It's a disaster. It's adorable. It's professionally catastrophic. Mia grinned. Do you like him? Savannah stared down into her wine. Yes. Very yes. The next morning, Alexander appeared at her desk carrying coffee. Peace offering? Savannah accepted it carefully. You didn't have to do this. I wanted to. He looked unusually nervous, which was honestly terrifying considering this man negotiated billion-dollar acquisitions without blinking. I've been thinking, he said quietly. What if we remove the reporting conflict completely? Savannah frowned. What? You would report directly to creative strategy instead of executive leadership. Her eyes widened. You'd restructure departments for me? For us. The honesty in his voice made her chest tighten painfully. Before she could answer, Vanessa interrupted sharply. Mr. Reed, the hotel executives are here. His expression cooled instantly. Professional again. But his eyes lingered on Savannah before he walked away. The campaign presentation that morning became the biggest success of Savannah's career. The hotel executives loved everything. By the end, they offered a multi-million-dollar expansion contract. Afterward, Alexander publicly praised her work in front of senior leadership, which only made Vanessa angrier. The rumors worsened. Then things escalated. Mia burst into Savannah's office one afternoon pale with panic. Vanessa hired someone to follow you. Savannah froze. What? She has photos of you and Alexander together outside restaurants. Her stomach dropped. She's trying to spread them around internally. Savannah immediately went to Alexander. His expression darkened dangerously as she explained everything. This ends today. An emergency leadership meeting was called within the hour. Savannah stood beside Alexander while he addressed the room directly. There have been rumors regarding my relationship with Savannah Carter. The room went dead silent. Alexander looked completely calm, controlled, powerful. So let me clarify. His hand found Savannah's gently. We met before either of us knew who the other was. Shock spread across the room. Our relationship developed independently from this company. He looked directly at several executives. Savannah's success is based entirely on her own talent. Any suggestion otherwise insults both her professionalism and this company. Then his gaze shifted toward Savannah and softened instantly. I also love her. Gasps echoed around the room. Savannah nearly cried. Alexander didn't care. I'm done pretending otherwise. Vanessa resigned 2 days later. 3 months after that, Savannah won a National Marketing Innovation Award for her campaign. At the celebration dinner afterward, Alexander stood in front of the entire company holding a champagne glass. 6 months ago, he said smoothly, this woman called me a cold-hearted corporate robot on an airplane. The room exploded with laughter. Savannah buried her face in her hands. Alexander grinned. She also accused me of being emotionally dead inside. More laughter. Then his expression softened. But she was also the first person in years brave enough to tell me the truth. The room quieted instantly. Alexander walked toward her slowly, and somewhere between turbulence and panic attacks, he dropped to one knee. Savannah gasped. So dramatic, Mia whispered loudly from somewhere behind them. The entire room laughed. Alexander opened a velvet box. Inside sat a stunning diamond ring. Savannah Carter. His eyes never left hers. You changed my life the moment you grabbed my arm and insulted me at 30,000 feet. Savannah laughed through tears. I love you because you're honest. Because you're passionate. Because you challenge me. His voice softened. And because even terrified, you were still completely yourself. He smiled gently. Marry me. Savannah nodded immediately. Yes. Then laughed harder. Yes, obviously yes. The room erupted into applause as Alexander kissed her. And somewhere in the back, Mia shouted, "Long live the corporate supervillain." Even Alexander laughed at that. 6 months later, Savannah walked down the aisle overlooking Lake Michigan wearing white while Alexander waited at the altar looking at her like she was the best thing that had ever happened to him. Because she was. During their vows, Savannah smiled through tears. I spent 2 hours insulting this man on an airplane. Their guests laughed loudly. And somehow he still fell in love with me. Alexander kissed her hand gently. Best flight of my life, he whispered. And honestly, for Savannah too.